Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Ferrary with Small Business USA. Hey, I'm really excited to be here. We're going to get started shortly. We've had some crazy technical difficulties with Webinar Jam, so we're going to just go forward and use Zoom, and we're resilient. So thank you for those of you who could join us today. Otherwise, we're waiting, and we'll mail this to the rest of you, and we're really sorry we couldn't do this with you live and in person, but we will be hosting a Periscope after the call today, after the online workshop today. So hopefully you'll get just as much out of that with our live Q&A, and I hope we get a lot of questions today as well. So just hang on a few minutes. I'm going to let you look at my lovely family on the front cover of this, and we'll get started in a few minutes. We have some cool little facts and trivia for you to look at while you're waiting for all the rest of the participants and for us to officially get started. So thanks for joining us. Still there? This is my favorite slide. 86% of purchases are based on trust. What does that mean? People think it means one thing. I'm going to prove them differently. So we talk a lot about that in boot camp, but 86% of purchases. I love this slide, most commonly used statistic. So we will get started in just a couple minutes. Just bear with us while we let everybody come on. We don't want all those interruptions. But yeah, really, really great information tonight. So we're excited to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. Be right back. All right, let's get this party started. This webinar, online workshop, as we're calling it, was created by Small Business USA and my team there, and they're just amazing. So thank you for that. And then Main Street Boot Camp, it's a division of what we have started. We know that there's a need out there for businesses like yours that have to deal with customers every day. And so we're really happy to have this collaboration. And I, every day, am just blessed to have all these amazing, amazing minds to work with every day. So we're going to just get started here and get right into our webinar. So thank you for joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Colleen Ferrary. I am the owner and founder of Small Business USA and Generating Winners, and super proud to do both. So welcome. I'm happy to have you here. And my challenge is to leave you with at least 3 things, hopefully 10 things, but at least 3 things that are going to really change your business tonight. So let's get started. What do you think? All right. So first, allow me to introduce myself. You know, I don't know, notice the airbrushing. I have an amazing photographer. My daughter said, "Oh, you look so young there." But I have been in retail and working with businesses just like yours for over 27 years. It's amazing. So I'm excited to share some of those secrets. But before we get started, really important, ask questions. There's a chat bar right on the bottom of Zoom. So those of you who were able to join us on Zoom today, please use that chat bar and ask some questions, and I'll answer them live as they come up. We just ask you to otherwise mute your call and just, if you want to ask a question, you can interrupt me at any time. You don't have to wait for a Q&A. So anybody who knows me and knows Small Business USA and our Ask the Expert calls, that's what we are all about, is solving problems. So let's just get started, shall we? Ask away whenever you're ready. So the agenda today is, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and why you should listen to me, I suppose, and then we'll debunk some myths, which I always love. We'll talk about the 4 P's of marketing, because I don't know what's happening in this crazy world, but I think everybody is just focused on one, and that's promotion. So that's the most expensive, and let's throw that out. It's important, but let me show you how to use that tonight. And then most importantly, and I think this is a thing that most small business owners forget, is that the tools for better self-assessment. Now, we have a lot in Main Street Bootcamp, but we're going to go through 5 really important ones that you can use, or that we think will really help you and your business today. So a little bit about me. I'm the founder and owner of Small Business USA. We work with many small business owners, all different kinds, and that's how we created Boot Camp. We are so happy. We are a peer advisory board, helpline, just every tool that a business owner needs. When you're feeling alone, that's a really good reason to join Small Business USA. We're really happy about that. But you know what? It wasn't always that easy. I was managing a group of stores at 19 years old while I was in college, and I will tell you, I don't know how I kept that job. I don't even really, it was a blur, but that first year in that position, I flew by the seat of my pants, and I made more mistakes running these small boutiques than I could ever imagine. And it busted my confidence up. I'm not going to lie to you. But I guess it was a great way to start. And I was blessed to have great professors in college as I was going through school, and that helped me lift myself up. I started Small Business USA because I grew up in a small business that failed. So, I know that it's really close to all of us. After 20 years, my mom lost everything, and still today was never able to regain it and recoup. And so for me, this is personal. This is important. When I walk downtown Main Street and I see some of my favorite stores closing, my daughter and I were just school shopping yesterday. We went to one of my favorite little shopping centers, an outdoor mall. And sadly enough, every store that was not a chain had closed. So today I really want to spend some time. Let's really dig into, what do these chains know that small business owners don't? What are the differentiators? And let's get you a little closer, whether you own a real estate office, whether you're a nail salon, whether you are a dry cleaner, own a boutique, a shoe store, a bike shop, or a restaurant. Whatever, this applies to whatever business you're in. If you belong on Main Street, you belong on this call tonight. So my challenge, and I'm going to rise to it, is to teach you a little something you didn't know. So I'm going to say that because there was a study done by Princeton, and they put 100 people into a room that all had a very similar problem, and they interviewed them coming out, and the professor spoke about that problem, and 96% of the people out of 100, 96% did not recognize that they had the problem. So I'm going to ask you to go into this call open-minded tonight, because what we find with business owners when they join Small Business USA is that they don't realize the mistakes they're making until the spotlight is shown on them, or the mirror. And I think the minute that you write that check as a small business owner, your first rent check or your first website check, all of a sudden all perspective is gone. It's yours. So I really want to help you see your business a little clearer today. How about this guy? This is a great example of someone who said, this is a good idea. This is going to be great for my business. Well, I'll tell you right now, how many people do you know that bring pets into their business? This is one of those little aha moments. But if you'd like to keep your pets, unless you own a pet store, you have just lost 20% of your potential business. That's because 20% of the world is either allergic or afraid of animals, cats, dogs, whatever. So just think carefully before bringing your pet. But there's an example. I couldn't even tell you how many stores on Main Street I see with pets or other. There's hundreds of other examples of things that you're doing every single day to push people away. So we're going to dig into some of them. So here's another little point here that I want to make, and I find this very interesting. I'm going to give some credit to one of my favorite people for this quote, but it's also I pulled it up, and although what was the statistic? 95% of all statistics are made up. I did find this a few different times online, but I really find this fascinating because when they ask business owners if they believe they delivered exceptional customer service, 85% of them raised their hand. 85%. But here's the better part of the statistic. When they interviewed those same customers, less than 10% of those customers actually believe they deliver a passing grade in customer service. Now, we could talk all night about customer service. If you want, go to Small Business USA and Jim Cohen, who's the person who kind of brought this 85% to my attention. He has a Leaky Bucket Marketing podcast that is fantastic, and it really talks about customer service. And Main Street Bootcamp really digs deep into customer service. We'll touch on it a little bit tonight, but we get lost on that topic. So just think about it tonight when you're going through this online workshop with us. Let's really challenge each other to think about, what is the customer thinking? Not you with the jaded perspective, but your customer. I'm going to give you Amy as an example. Amy is a business owner. This isn't her real picture. She wouldn't let us share her picture. But Amy is a real business owner who has worked with Small Business USA and Main Street Bootcamp and our strategies. And she owns a small chain of print shops and came to us because she had one underperforming location. And what did she think? She blamed it on the community. This is a dying community. It's the location. Maybe we should move. Well, she had a B2B business. So let's talk about that for a minute, because in came Main Street Bootcamp and in came Amy's aha moment. And this is where we all can make that very, very simple mistake. When you're forced to step back and really look at your business, that aha moment really changes things. What we found is that, and what she found, was that her team was not as good as she thought they were. And by doing something very simple, by following our strategy and using our tools that we put together with Main Street Bootcamp, Amy already has seen an increased profit, not sales, increased profit of $100,000 this year. Go, Amy. Thanks for letting me share your story. So now it's time to help you, right? Let's start by debunking the myths. If you have ever uttered these words, you are in big trouble. I sound like my mom. Let's go through them. There's a million of them, but we just decided to choose a few of the most common. Millennials do all their shopping online. You know, I asked my realtor, I'm selling my house, I asked my realtor, why should I list with you when I can, for $350, list online? And guess what he told me? I'm going to save that for Main Street Bootcamp. But this is a myth, you guys. Let's go through a few others. Oh, you guys, this is one of those that we all use. And you know what? Location, we'll talk about it. Location. Location is important, but it's not everything. And you look at some businesses and you wonder, how do they make it? Is it because of their location? Maybe. Is it because the Chamber of Commerce is running this business and is running customers to this business? Now, believe it or not, what you don't see is you don't see the owner's brand new Jaguar convertible parked in the back. Here's somebody who has capitalized on Americana in a tourist area and is just having fun and is making some great money along the way in a very artsy community on a rural road between LA and San Diego. LA and Malibu. And he's just living life. So he's doing what he loves and he's in the right place and he's selling the right product at the right time. And can I encourage you to open a business like this? I'd like to not, but I can't tell you that there's a one-size-fits-all approach. But I am going to tell you, based on certain factors, you can pull all of these factors together and this recipe that we put together in Main Street Bootcamp together to really figure out what the right recipe and answer for your business is. So let's talk about the 4 P's of marketing. This has become a little pet peeve for me at Small Business USA lately because, we talk a lot about differentiation, and that's a really important part of what we do when a new member joins. We go through and we focus on marketing, and we're very marketing rich. We do leverage marketing consultants to refer people to, but for the most part, we have a marketing program and marketing library that I'm very, very, very proud of. And we do some consulting as part of the program before you get into a peer advisory board and along the way to make sure that you're placed. But what I've noticed lately is that marketers are forgetting that there's 3 other P's. The product, price, place, and promotion. And if you run a business, you need to do all 4. You can't just create videos for great shoes and think that your shoe store is going to be out of sight and wildly successful. So great video is important. I am going to tell you that. But what's most important is that you encompass the entire embodiment of what a retailer, what a restaurant, what a service business is to the customer. And that is a little more important than just promotion. And when we get into promotion, I'll share a little bit why businesses are wasting their time and money on over promoting. So we'll dig into that too. But let's just start right in the beginning. Let's talk about product. Product differentiation. Is your product different? I look at Target and I look at Walmart, and they both carry Tide. And they make sure that Tide is the same price. They price compete all the time to make sure I think the number is 3,000 SKUs. They go to each other's store every week and scan to make sure that one isn't priced lower than the other. They're very competitive like that. But the product, that's what differentiates these great retailers. Think about the Gap. The product has a look. Think about when you go to McDonald's. Their product has an expectation of consistency. Their product and price together is what sells. Now, with that said, let's take Armani. The same thing, but on a very, very different spectrum. So what I found incredibly fascinating about product is that 72% of retailers copy their competition. You know what? Let me just ask you this. How many burger places do you have, gourmet burger places do you have in your Midtown area? If you live in a city with over 80,000 people, chances are you probably have quite a few of them. They're rising up all over the place. Is there a lot of differentiation? There's differentiation with the successful ones. So how do you make your burger different than everyone else's? I would challenge you, if you have a product that is very similar, or any product that you want to sell and put forth, you have to know what your competition is doing, and you need to make sure that you're not copying them. You're differentiating yourself from them. So let's take the karate studio. How is that karate studio's product different? Is it focused on young children? Is it focused on competition? You need to know how you're going to stand out from a product perspective. So that's number one. Take a little time, do a little homework, and figure out product. Now, price. What's your value? I mean, everyone uses the example of Starbucks, right? You pay extra money for a coffee that costs more. I want you to think about your value for 1 minute. Let's just take a second and think. What is the value of what you're offering? You know, your value is not just the price, but it's what it's worth to you. So going back to that realtor, what is it worth for me to hire a realtor instead of list it myself? Well, my time is valuable. So if it's a full service realtor that is really catering to my needs and taking all of the responsibility, staging, everything out of my hands, well, there's some value. They're going to take better pictures than I am with my iPhone, I suppose. So there's some more value. But really, what is the value? It's time, right? And it's aggravation and frustration, not having to deal one-on-one with these clients, right? They're the intermediary. What is the value of you selling a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes or a titanium bicycle? You know, they can get value. Those shoes are the same whether you buy them at your shoe store or at Bloomingdale's or at your bike shop or at Dick's. But what are you offering that no one else does? The price, is it going to be the same? Is the value in the service and the experience? So when you look at price, I want you to think about, what are you really delivering? I'm going to tell a story that I heard from a great friend, Gary Smith. He shared the story about a hair salon. And a customer had gone into this hair salon for years. She loved it. The people there were fantastic. They were just amazing, amazing, amazing. And what happened? One day, she couldn't get an appointment. She had a big event, couldn't get an appointment, and had to go down the street to the next nearest salon. What happened when she went there? She walked in the front door. She was greeted so nicely. They knew who she was without ever meeting her because her appointment was at a specific time. They knew what she was having done. They got out from behind the desk, grabbed her coat, hung it up, made her comfortable, handed her a few magazines, asked her what kind she liked, brought her a glass of water in the waiting room because she was a couple minutes early. Then when they brought her into the salon, they took their time massaging her hair, just spent a couple extra moments. People all around her said hello, started gracious conversation. She sat down, had her hair done. Everyone came by to tell her how wonderful she looked. She was pampered. They refilled her water. She got her back rubbed. She was thinking to herself, oh my God, this is going to be the most expensive haircut ever. What am I thinking? I can't believe I couldn't go to my regular person. At the end of her experience, she went up to go pay for her haircut. Turned out it was less than the place that she had been going, but the experience was far better. All of a sudden, the value of her existing salon changed. It wasn't worth the value any longer. Let me ask you, how often do you check to verify that your value is still intact? How often do you check your competition? Go get your hair done. If you own a salon, go get your hair done by someone else somewhere else. It's not going to kill you. It's going to teach you. Eat somewhere else if you own a restaurant. Our price is a deterrent, believe it or not. So pricing too low can also be a problem. Now, I started Small Business USA as a legacy career. I wanted to make Small Business USA and all of the tools that we afford our members accessible to every business owner. So our price is low. And I knew, and I was told by 1,000 experts going into this, that you are underpriced, and therefore you are going to be perceived as undervalued. So I have to work really hard in the other direction to make sure that we're not perceived as undervalued, that people can see that we have quality, that our service is right, that we have great community, because our price will always be a deterrent. We charge $248 a month. Vistage charges $1,200 for less service. Price can be a deterrent. That is our number one deterrent to signing new members up to Small Business USA. but it's not one I'm willing to forsake because my mission and my vision is far more important than getting that extra client. Place, where are you? Yes, it absolutely matters. Absolutely matters. So if you're going to be downtown in a bustling area in a huge community, you're going to pay more for it, and for good reason, because you're going to have more traffic there that walks by your front door. But I will tell you, if more traffic still walks by your front door, but you don't have your placement right, you're still going to fail and you're going to close. And if your price isn't the right price and your value isn't correctly marked, you're not going to succeed. So the challenge of place goes beyond just where you're located, but also the placement and the merchandising of what's inside your building. Where is your product? What do your windows look like? What draws people in? So remember this slide? Let's see how you did. Color is the most important when merchandising. Think about White House Black Market. I just said that backwards. But they got their business because of color. It was the color that drove them. Everything was white and black. It was so impactful when you walked in. You had to go into that store. It was just this aha. And look at them. They have grown exponentially. Do they have colors every once in a while? They do. But the truth is, color has driven their business. It's a great example of it. Now, the second one is price. There are so many more things that I can teach you, and we will teach you in boot camp about color, price, all four of these things. And unfortunately, I don't have time tonight to go into them, but that whole color dynamic is so important. I can't even tell you. There's 10 different things I can tell you about color that are going to drive sales for you, no matter what you have, whatever you sell. Price is important. It's the second most important thing. Now, what's interesting about price is you'll notice that you can get away with a lot of other things when you have a clearance sign over the top of a rack or a sale sign. It draws people's attention there. People pay attention to price. If you go into a gift shop, how much are you generally you go into a gift shop thinking, I'm going to spend $50 on someone, $100, $1,000, whatever it is. But you have a price in mind. If something is not priced, will you buy it? Will you embarrass yourself? And it's an interesting survey that more customers will put the item down that is not ticketed and not clearly priced before they will go even no matter how much they love something, before they will go and ask a salesperson for the price of something. Plentiful supply, a full rack, plentiful supply, whatever you want to call it. I want you to think about it this way. You own a real estate agency, but this applies for a bike shop, clothing. I've actually tested it on myself. A full rack sells, believe it or not. But think about it from a different angle. What if you always go into the same restaurant and they're always out of things? So frustrating. We went to a restaurant 2 nights ago, and the first thing the waitress told us was 4 things she was out of. It leaves this impression. But let's look at plentiful supply. There's a lot of, on Main Street, we have a lot of real estate offices lately. And, I love real estate, grew up in real estate, and I was able to retire early because of real estate. However, I want my Main Street filled with experiences and stores and one realtor. They don't need to have great property downtown Main Street. I'm sorry, all of you. But let's think about that window. All the realtors, they have the pictures now of the houses that they're selling. And let's say all the houses in the window were between $200,000 and $400,000. Well, if you are looking for a $2 million house, are you going to go into that realtor's office? No, that supply gives you an impression of who shops there and who that's for. Now, the opposite also stands. But what if they only have 3 listings? Are you going to stop in front of that door? Are you going to remember that realtor is there? Trust me, nobody sells a house because there's a picture in the, well, maybe they do, I don't know. I've never heard of this story where somebody sells a house because the picture's in the window. But everyone knows where the realtor is, because as they're licking that ice cream cone, walking through Main Street, and they are nosy and want to see what houses in their neighborhood are selling for, they stop. And they remember that they stopped, and the pictures of the houses that they saw that were in their neighborhood that resonated with them, that connected with them. So plentiful supply, when a realtor has a lot of listings, you see their signs all over, up and down the streets, wherever you go. You see that one Coldwell Banker sign, and you know that realtor must be a mover and shaker, right? Plentiful supply, one of those really important things. And again, many different things that we could talk about on that. And then ease of shopping. Here's a really simple one. Do you know that a woman in particular will not shop anywhere where something touches her backside? But I also want to think about families. If someone has children, someone has a stroller, if it's hard to eat, if it's hard to get that stroller around, are you going to go there? If you're handicapped and you can't go up and down steps, are you going to shop on the second floor? Ease of shopping, space, clutter, all of that is really important. So the 4 P's of marketing, the last one, I know that you guys have all been waiting for this, promotion. Why are you wasting money? Oh, I can't wait to tell you. So Main Street Bootcamp really goes into it in depth, but what we found a few different things, and I'll tell you a little bit, but promotion is important. It's 60% relative to new sales. So when the American Marketing Association did research, they found that 60% of all new sales were generated, especially in newer businesses, by marketing. Now, what those what that marketing is should be a perfectly orchestrated decision. But I will tell you, if you're missing the first 3, don't do the 4th P. You're just throwing your money away. That's the first thing. The other thing, which I found fascinating going into Small Business USA, because before owning Small Business USA, I worked for one of the most savvy marketing geniuses of all time, Michael Francis with Target. I mean, just an incredible marketer. But what I found and what's amazing about Michael Francis is, do you know that most of the marketing that Target does, most of the impressions that Target gets are free? It's called buzz marketing. The average business owner over-markets by 300%. We saw that when we started Small Business USA, and we still see it every single day. Because business owners have not done the due diligence with creating their marketing plan, they just market where it feels good and where it feels right, instead of that particular niche that is going to buy from you. Do you know that niche is only 3% of your core market? So if there's 100 people that are looking for a hamburger, that means, unless you're only the only hamburger joint in town, even then, only 3% of those customers are going to purchase from you. That's an incredible statistic, right? 100 people are ready to buy, but only 3% are going to buy from you. It's about, how do you find that 3%? And we do that in Main Street Bootcamp. We help you really identify your core audience. And our members know, if you're a member of Small Business USA, we drill this down, because not only do you save money when you figure out that 3% of your core market, but you also save time. And we know that people that really pay attention to this exercise, it usually comes about week 4 of Small Business USA's program. We know that we can save business owners up to a full day in productivity and just really take their time back. So really, really important tools. So 5 tools to self-assess. Now let's really think about self-assessment and what that means. Self-assessment is really looking at your business not through rose-colored glasses, not through those glasses that you just bought writing a check, but really through the customer's eyes, right? Now, I want to go back to that original comment that was in that study that was done in Princeton. 96% of you do not recognize you have a problem. Now, we're just talking about one problem. So if I go through everything that we just talked about, guaranteed you all, without a doubt, have a problem in one of those core areas. Even if you're perfect, if your sales are zooming, even in the best chains that I've ever worked at, even with the most masterful leaders, 96% will not recognize when they have a problem. I'm going to tell you, I work with the Limited Group and Les Wexner for years, and And Les Wexner did something really fascinating to me. He completely was distracted by fingerprints on the front glass windows in the mall stores. Now, it didn't matter if it was 7 or 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday during back to school or Christmas. If there were fingerprints on that front glass display, it was not going to be a good visit with Les. You know, he used to call it the war on retail, and would wear all black because he was disappointed with somebody's visit. But those windows, that was your first impression. So I challenge you. He had an eye for detail. I remember the president, not Greg Stenhoffel, Bob Ulrich, would go out onto the sidewalk, and he was so infuriated by little pieces of grass coming up between the sidewalk cracks. In our corporate offices as well as the stores. Why? People think I'm crazy when I consult retailers and we talk about their brand. They don't see it. It is the biggest opportunity retailers have for self-assessment. In a restaurant, I could not even tell you. You can get an A in your safety rating, but you can go into the bathroom or you can see opportunities, dirty cleanliness opportunities that would just really make you shudder. The perspective is so important. And when you're sitting on the other side of the counter, or you're the customer and not the salesperson, your perspective is completely different. And that perspective from the front sidewalk tells you if you're going to have a problem or not. When I was first starting in mass merchandising and big store retail, I had this boss and soon to become mentor, Bernie Gogolinsky. And Bernie walked into my store, and I was so proud of it. I was standing in the middle, and I just was, I thought, I am going to impress this man. He is a legend. He had been with the company for years. And this was my turn to really show him what I was made of. And sure enough, he walked in. He took 10 steps into this building, which was the bank of registers to the side, put his hands on his hip, stood boldly, said, "Ferrari, I don't know what all the hype is about you, but this place is a effing dump." I couldn't believe my ears. I thought, what is he talking about? I mean, this is the most beautiful store ever. How could he see this? I went through that store with a fine-tooth comb because I knew he was coming. I didn't see anything. He walked in, and as I would soon learn, by looking through his eyes, I had a completely different vision of what I was looking at. And sure enough, we fixed those brand issues. We filled in areas that he saw. We straightened things that he pointed out. And sure enough, sales increased. Even though it doesn't make any sense, people will buy in a more organized and neat location and space. When it looks like you know what you're doing, people trust easier. All right, next. So here's some tools that I really like to help you self-assess. Now, I don't know why this is, but the first thing I want you to do is grab a fellow shop owner or restaurateur, and I want you to ask them to go walk your store with you. Have them really walk through, meet them out on the sidewalk in front of your store. Don't have them meet you in the back of the store or in your office. Meet them out on the sidewalk, wherever your sidewalk is, and ask them to walk you through your store. Look at the store, the restaurant, your business, your karate studio, bike shop. Look at it through their eyes. Something amazing happens. Unbelievably amazing. I could walk through my buildings, my stores with my dad, and I wouldn't see it. My dad was so accepting and loving, and I just knew that he was just so proud of whatever I accomplished. But if I walked through with my mother, who was really driven and focused, and she wanted to make me better and stronger, I knew she was going to pick apart everything. If she was standing by my side, I saw everything. Every dust ball, lint ball, mistake, every sign that was missing, every crazy handwritten sign or falling sign or crooked rack. I mean, it was just incredible. When you ask a shop owner that you really, truly respect to go walk through this with you, you're going to find the same thing. Your building, your business just looks different. Number 2, ask your employee what makes you better than everyone else who sells your product. I am telling you, there's 9,000 things you can extrapolate from this one question. We go a lot deeper into it in Main Street Bootcamp. But when you ask your employee what makes you better than anyone else, if they don't know, you failed the test. You are not as good as you think. You are not getting your message across to your customers, and your sales are stalled. I am telling you that. If you have 10 employees, you better ask every single one of them. And if 2 are wrong, you're failing. I want you to think about it. If you have 10 employees and you ask 2 and 2 of them are wrong, you're minimally losing at least 20% of your sales. And that's not their fault. That's your fault. That's your communication, what you stand for, your standard. There's there's a restaurateur who was interviewed by a magazine, and he used the example of centering your salt shaker. And so he was sitting down at the table with this magazine leadership writer, and he said, it's the secret of the salt shaker. And so he said, put that salt shaker into the very center of the table that we're sitting at. And so he moved the salt shaker to the center, and the restaurateur grabbed it and moved it 1 inch so it was closer to the center. Well, the restaurateur said, well, why did you move it? And he said, well, why don't you try to move it to what you think the center of the table is? And he moved it to the center of the table, and the restaurateur pushed it out to the outside of the table. And so the leader pushed it back to the center of the table, and the restaurateur pushed it off the center again. The leader pushed the salt shaker back to the center, and this went on a few times. And finally, the leader who was interviewing the restaurateur said, what are you doing? You told me to move it to the center. He said, your job as a business owner is to teach your employees what that center is, exactly where it is. And your customers every single day are going to push that salt shaker off center. And if you even let it go just a little bit, if you just let it move just a little off center, next time it's going to be a little more off center and a little more off center. Hold on to your standards. Even if it's just a little, move that salt shaker back into the center. And how you do it is as important as that you're doing it. But business owners get complacent. And when your employee really understands your standards, your expectation, what makes you great, where exactly the center of your business is, you're really talking a different experience, a different sales experience. Number 3, take a picture. I love this. Has anybody ever seen a picture of their store or restaurant and said, oh my God, the tables were crooked, or the chairs weren't straight, or why couldn't they have just straightened out the arms of those clothing a little bit or pulled the sleeves down? It's fascinating. When you take a picture of something, it's fascinating that you see something completely different. When you look at that picture, it looks so different than it does with your eyes, because we're looking at it through a different lens, aren't we? Great. It's a great tool, and it's a tool that we use during Main Street Bootcamp to really help you self-assess. Now, we're going to help and we're going to have you take specific pictures, and then we're going to help you really look at those and assess those pictures so you can see with a more discerning eye where your sales are falling and where your challenges are. But if you just start by taking a picture and looking at that picture, you're going to see something that's incredibly different. Pretend you're posting it. Take a picture and attach it to a blog that you're posting. You'll be surprised how many pictures you take before you post that blog. Number 4, hire a consultant. It's really challenging to see for yourself. So if you don't have the discipline, it is consultants for a retail environment or restaurant. You're probably looking at $500 or $600 for them to come out. But I will tell you, that is $500 or $600, that visit, to get that honest feedback, to really have them look at your business and self-assess, is really worth every dime. We really try to replace, not everyone can hire a consultant to come out every week or every month or to build a consulting relationship to help, you. And that's what we have created Small Business USA and Main Street Bootcamp for, is to really fill the gap and really serve businesses that are alone and feel alone out there, but don't want to hire a consultant or want more than just one perspective and want many perspectives. But the best people, your friends, family, they're not going to be as honest with you as you think they are. So to get that objective perspective is so incredibly valuable. Even your customers, think about the last time you went to a restaurant. You sat down at the restaurant, the food was just mediocre. I can tell you this happened the other day to us. Everyone was so nice. They were so, oh my God, the manager and the owner and our waitress they were fantastic. The food, though, I wouldn't go back for that food. It was subpar. It was okay. I mean, if there was no other restaurant in town, but there is, I might go back just because everyone was so nice. But I would more likely go back and have a after dinner drink than I would go back and eat their food. I don't think I would go back for a restaurant. But guess what happened when we were leaving? The owner said, "Oh, how was your dinner?" I said, "Oh, everything was just great. Thank you so much." And I owed Small Business USA. I just couldn't do it to her. If she was paying me to, maybe I could, but I still wouldn't want to because she was so nice, but I would. And that's what a consultant does. And don't fool yourself into saying when you ask every customer face to face that they're going to give you an honest answer, because that's not how it works. Most people do not like confrontation. And that one negative comment could lead to more time, more energy, a distraction, could get you off of your schedule. So asking your customer anonymously, and we talk a lot about that in boot camp. Anonymously is one thing, but really trying to get super honest feedback is a really challenging other piece of business. And then lastly, number 5, ask your employee who the most important person on your team is. What do you think they're going to say? If your employee believes that you are the most important person on the team, you failed. That's not the answer you want. You know, Zig Ziglar is a great motivational speaker. I just loved him. But more importantly, more than all the words of wisdom that he could give us, he did something amazing right with his team, with his own team. His team used to say, the amazing thing about Zig is that no matter who you are, even if you were just delivering mail, you thought that you were the most important person on that team. Now, when I ran stores, and I ran a lot of stores and multiple stores all at one time, I would ask that question of my team. And I would say, who is the most important person on the team? And if they didn't say me, not me, them, then I got a little nervous. But the other thing that's reflective in retention and ability, but let me ask you this, and it's something that I've always used. If you run a small grocery store, let's say you run an IGA, well, if that grocery store, if your cart attendant doesn't call out, if he calls out and you don't have a cart attendant, what happens? How do those shopping carts get back in? What happens to your insurance claims with carts in your parking lot? What happened? Who has to go now get those carts? And what is being pulled away from because that person isn't out there getting the carts? Every single person is a really important piece of the puzzle in your team. Now, I'll tell you, when your employees don't believe they're the most important employee on your team, you have lost sales. Because what happens is when you're not there, they're not performing at their peak level. And they're also not empowered, and they don't see how important they are to making it all work. So my challenge to you, number 5 in that self-assessment, is ask your employee who the most important person on your team is. And it's not the easiest thing to get them there, but you can get them there. We have a bunch of steps in Main Street Bootcamp that are really going to help you really assess your team, and more importantly, teach you how to go through some of the steps. Even if you're not that master great leader, you didn't go to school for HR, we're going to teach you how to make your employees a lot better. But just to start, let's ask your employees who the most important person on their team is. And you're going to be shocked and amazed at some of the answers. Remember, if they said you failed. Oh, the bonus, how to best self-assess your business. Purchase Main Street Bootcamp. one of the greatest things that I think Small Business USA has done this year, and I'm so excited about, is Main Street Boot Camp. And we built a program because what we found is that business owners who are in that service industry where you have customers and you have clients around you all the time, you don't have the ability to just go and, oh, thanks. Oh, thanks. Somebody just said they bought it. Awesome. Great. Oh, enjoy it. I think it's a 2 to 4 week lead time right now, but thanks. Enjoy that, Jenny. When you have customers walking in the door every single day, it's hard. Your time is not your own. And it's really important to really figure out, you can't join a peer advisory board sometimes, and especially if you only have one employee in the building. But you can do some things to help yourself, so you can build your business so you get to the point that you can have a peer advisory board and take time out and have more time to yourself. But business when you're dealing with customers one-on-one is very distracting. If you're in the B2B business, it's a little bit more forgiving, because they tend to work and communicate 9 to 5. But our boot camp does a few things. It includes a workbook and DVDs, and in 5 weeks, we really go through everything we talked about in much depth, but also tactically, so you can take it and you can build your business off of it and really get better and drive some sales and really look at your business from a very fresh perspective. So our program is a 5-week program, and each DVD is you get one DVD each week, and it goes along with a workbook, so you have some tangible strategy tools that you can write things down and answer some questions. It does require a camera or a smartphone or an iPad or one of those tools to go along with it. We really want to leverage your ability to look at your business through a different lens. And when you take those pictures and you go back to your workbook and your DVD, it really works in tandem together so you can have a great perspective. And then what we're doing for anybody who watches this is we've lowered our price for today only. And actually, because we've had some technical difficulties, we're going to run it at $3.99 all week. So make sure that you grab and take advantage of Main Street Boot Camp for $3.99. It's crazy because it's so much less expensive than a consultant, but it gives you so much more. And really, it's a compilation of my 27 years running retail. I've 20 years in real estate, and I was in the restaurant business, managed 2 different restaurants, and have consulted many restaurants and worked hand in hand with business owners in the restaurant industry, plus restaurant consultants. And then with Small Business USA, my years in Small Business USA, and all of the consultants, we put all of our knowledge into this to really come up with some step-by-step tools that you can go through to really assess your business. So really proud of this. We guarantee that you're going to love this. So really check it out while we're lowering the price. And I think this is a great introductory offer, and we're for $80 a week. How are you going to find anything that could even compare? So we're really excited to be able to bring something affordable to business owners like yourself. And this is what we really focus on teaching you. And it goes beyond what we learned today in the online workshop, but we want to make sure that you want to have perspective, to that you understand marketing. I mean, marketing is that's one whole DVD, and we do that last purposefully because we really want to make sure that you've lined everything up. If you market but you don't have your placement, your product, your merchandising, your pricing, your team, and your customer service all lined up, you're going to struggle. Now, I know that I can increase business. I've done it for years. I know that by pulling all of these tools together, and if you follow our program, you are going to drive business in your store, your restaurant, or your service industry. So we're also going to teach you merchandising tricks, and there's 3 different books. So there are 3 different programs. So it's retail, service, or restaurant. So they're both a little different. That's how we do it. If you thought it's this one size fits all, we're going to bounce back and forth between categories. We don't. We're going to teach you the difference between customer experience versus service, and how to measure it and how to get there, and how to change service to experience, which is really going to be a huge differentiator. And when you think about the internet, that is one of our biggest differentiators from internet service. But we're also going to teach you how to take advantage of the internet to sell more product, to use it to market, but also to use it as an income step. If you want to do some online sales right out of your shop and increase business without footsteps, we can do that leveraging our program. So we'll teach you how to do that as well. We're going to teach you about multiple sales. No one talks about multiple sales anymore, and this is the easiest way to increase your sales by 5% today. It's the easiest thing that you can teach your team, more than 5% depending on your price point and what you're selling. And then how to create more time. That is a really important element, because when you're dealing with a customer, the last thing you have is time. And we want to make sure that you have more of it and you're spending your time wisely and organizing. And we're going to teach you how to do some things and do some time management in a retail environment that are really going to make a lot more sense and are going to make your time flow more effectively. When are your best downtimes, uptimes? You'll see a whole time management calendar just created to figuring out how to do things easier, better, and more productively, so you can have time back and live the dream that you had originally aspired to achieve. We're going to improve your team results. We're going to help you leverage the internet. You're going to create better storefronts. No matter what your business, we're going to talk about storefronts and your first impression. We're going to help you look at differentiation and how do you differentiate yourself from the competition. When there's a pool of hamburger joints, how does your hamburger joint stand out more? If you have 20 realtors in your town, what makes you stand out better? So definitely worth the investment. I think the one thing that is really fascinating for us has been franchises. Franchises, for us, they give you this marketing kit and they give you this package and this business in a box. But what they don't really give you is they don't really help you look within yourself and look at your business. So the case study that I gave you a little while ago was a franchise owner. And so we're really excited that we're helping franchise owners as well as independent business owners who don't have that support, and at a price that is really incredibly low for what we're offering. Again, that goes to my personal mission statement and vision. And I always ask, would my mother or my sister pay for this? Would they have bought this? And that's my gut check for everything that we do with Small Business USA. So that's why we try to make everything affordable, and we kind of ignore those naysayers who say that we have to be priced higher, because we believe that we can deliver value at a great price. Then how to leverage buzz. Leveraging buzz is one of the most underutilized, and it goes way beyond PR. Leveraging buzz is one of the most underutilized marketing concepts, and I think it's one of the things that we need to do most right now. I've been talking about buzz marketing lately with a lot of our groups, and there's an awful lot of noise on the internet, and how do you stand out? We just recently did a study of new members that had come to us without our sales team approaching them first. And we found that they had 96 impressions of us before they actually reached out to us and recognized us. Now, I don't know, what does that say about our marketing? I don't know. Our marketing's pretty tight. It doesn't. It stands out from the competition. It's consistent. But I'll tell you, the conversations change, and there's a lot of consultants, there's a lot of peer advisory boards. We're the only ones that really combine everything into one package, so we really surround our business owners with our big arms and community to make sure that you don't feel alone. But we've created a well-admired brand, and we want to help you create a well-admired brand, not only by yourselves, but by your family, by your friends, and by your customers. So Main Street Bootcamp, that's really what it's about. So 5 tools to better grow your business. For us, it's 5 weeks of DVDs, a workbook to keep you traveling along in the right path. And we also have our business helpline for anybody within that 5 weeks. If you have questions, you just call and we'll connect you with a consultant to answer your question. Let me tell you, it doesn't get better than that. So enjoy. And now I'll just leave it open for some questions. What do you guys have out there? Okay, yeah, go to Main Street Bootcamp. The website is on the bottom, and I'm sorry if we were on our other, you'd be able to just click the link on your computer. But go to Main Street, it's with the ST, you'll see that on your screen, Main Street Bootcamp, and there's lots of opportunities on every page. Click the red button, it'll bring you right to our shopping cart. Or you can go to shop.smallbusinessus.com, and you can sign up for a membership with Small Business USA. You can join our Small Business Advisors of America group. you can purchase Main Street Boot Camp. But do me a favor, when you purchase Main Street Boot Camp, purchase the right one. So it's value added for you. So if you have a restaurant, purchase the restaurant version. Pay attention, it's really close and it's really small, and we really don't want anyone to make a mistake along the way and order the wrong one. It just slows you down. Okay. Oh, Jenny, again. Hey, again. The colors. Okay. So Jenny is asking, what are some of the other things with colors? Well, Main Street Boot Camp really gets into it in a lot more detail. But I'll tell you, just a simple thing like if you just colorizing something makes it more attractive. So when you use a Roy G. Biv and use the colors of the rainbow, it attracts the eye to a different level. But I'll give you a great example. Have you ever noticed like all the ridiculous colors that you'll see on a table at a store? In the Gap or Target, and say, who would buy these things? Well, those colors were specifically added to that assortment to draw your eye to that table. Without that crazy color that they probably inevitably marked down and lost money on, they drew more sales to that table because of it. So there's some proven research that shows by adding color to a table or a front window, it grabs attention. Now, what I wouldn't do is when you put colors all together, here's another tip. When you put colors all together and it's just this menagerie of colors, it does the opposite. It's confusing and it pulls your eye away because it hurts. That's why if you think of a casino floor is very multicolored and very hard to look at, and it is designed that way. The carpeting in that floor is designed that way, so you lift your eye up and look at the slot machines. So brilliant, right? It's all about merchandising. So you think about if you sold 2,500 different brands of bikes, but they were all black, you would lose sales because they don't differentiate themselves. So some of those little things, and even just colorizing the bikes, believe it or not, if your last bike, your eye will travel to the last bike there. It's really amazing. But if they're colorized, if they're not colorized, the eye stops on the color they like. So it's really an amazing phenomenon what color can do to driving sales. I see a few other, thank you. I see a few other people who have bought it, and awesome. This is great. Oh, this is very exciting. I'm so proud of Main Street Boot Camp, and I think that you're really going to enjoy it. What other questions are out there? Let me see. Oh, my favorite form of marketing for retail. Got to tell you, it's changing really rapidly. I think Facebook, if you're on retail, Facebook is still really powerful, really valuable. But now Instagram you can buy things on Instagram and Pinterest, and I think you really have to, it has a lot to do with age. I mean, be in all those places if you want, but I think that goes to over marketing and I think simplifying it, and there's ways to land in all of those places with one click of a button versus having to post in all those different places. But now that you can sell things through Pinterest and Facebook, and this is fantastic for retailers because it not only drives attention to your site, but it's a great way to have added revenue. But I'll tell you, there's a few things. I think that Facebook is really incredibly valuable. I think video is really, obviously, if you're not doing video, you're kind of out of the market there a little bit. But more importantly, I think it's about knowing who your client is. So if you have a high school client and you have a tween shop, you darn well better be on Instagram. You better really understand hashtags. And there's a question about hashtags. You guys, if you're not using hashtags, use them. The only thing that hashtags don't connect is LinkedIn. So hashtag. Now you can use hashtag Let's Save Main Street. And we started that campaign, a month ago, I think, to really focus on Main Street stores because we realized that there was this huge gap that business owners, we have this thriving, beautiful business with Small Business USA, but the business owners, my mom and sister, who I intended to help by creating Small Business USA, didn't have time to join. And I really wanted to be as successful for them as I was to B2B. clients. So that's where it really started with Let's Save Main Street. But also, I'm very passionate. I love downtown. I live in West Hartford, Connecticut. It's one of these vibrant communities, and we still see stores close. You know, I am living in also in Stonington Borough, which is that's what this picture is, a drawing in the background here, and it's adorable and it's very small and very quaint, and you have to think differently when you're in a small town like this. You have to do business differently when you don't have as much traffic as you do in West Hartford or New York City or wherever that is. So you have to think differently as a retailer, and that's what Let's Save Main Street is about. Is there's too many retailers out there saying, oh, well, this isn't going to work because, you know, the Chamber of Commerce isn't bringing more people, or my governor or my town or whatever. Well, we have the power right in our hands, and we have the internet, which gets people to come in. So if we hold hands and link hands with our peers and other Main Street businesses, what could we accomplish? We can revive Main Street, and we can thrive still. So people still want the experience. Oh, it's a good question. Oh, great, good timing. Steve asked about what do you mean by experience? Well, we get into experience and some more specifics in Main Street Boot Camp. However, you know, millennials, we talk about millennials and the internet. I don't know, you guys, women shop more than anyone, but I've got to tell you, it's about the experience. It's about what you do and doing something together and having this window shopping and feeling and touching and having real conversations. People still want that. And even when you look at the millennials have a different way to get there than a baby boomer, but they still get there. They still get to personal relationships and conversations. It's not all online. Just because they start building it there doesn't mean that they don't need that experience of interaction. So I challenge, like, look at coffee shops, look at Starbucks. Starbucks is based on an experience. They're remodeling all of their stores. It's like quick lightning watching them go through all these stores and remodeling all these stores. But why are they doing that? They're creating different, more private, intimate experiences with more seating because they know that people are sitting there, and that's why they go to Starbucks. Business owners have meetings at Starbucks all the time. All right, well, we have run out of time for today. I am so thankful for all of you joining us. At 8 o'clock, we're going to be doing a Periscope talk and answer any leftover questions and hopefully gain some new listeners. Really excited to have everyone here today, and thanks for joining us. And please go by Main Street Boot Camp or call me, and let's find out about Small Business USA and if we're a good fit for you. We do have some B2C peer advisory boards that are out there that I know that you'll enjoy and that will help your business tremendously. They're so valuable. So thank you, and have a great night, everyone. Take care.